everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Christy, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about cravings, specifically food cravings. So I have had a history of intense food cravings in my life. I used to restrict my food in an attempt to lose weight. And the whole time I was restricting my food, I would be very hungry. And this started when I was young, like in my teenage years. And then when I was just so hungry and I couldn't restrict anymore, it's not like I would go and eat something healthy, even though back then I was kind of clueless because I thought healthy was, like broccoli and chicken breast. But even that would have been healthier than the thing that I did, which was to go eat a whole box of cookies or a pint and a half of ice cream, right? Maybe more than once in a day. Like I'd have ice cream for breakfast, and then more later in the day. So I used to crave sweets, and even after I'd eaten, so I'd eat a satisfying meal, I would feel full. And then whatever was in the freezer, ice cream, that was my thing. Or if there was cake, sometimes I would just go buy a cake, so that I could have it. I really liked the frosting. And so I would crave for those sweet things. I would go for those sweet things, but most of the time I would white knuckle my way through not having those sweet things. And that's why my weight probably, never ballooned way up. Because I always starved myself back, right? Starved myself back to one extent or another, just depending on how long I could hold that for. And later in my life, as I moved more and more toward low carb, like I started moving toward low carb probably in my 20s, mid to late 20s, but I didn't really research it, right? It was just, okay, low carb, that means don't eat carbs. That means eat meat and cheese, bacon, avocados. This is what it meant to me. And don't eat too many carbs. Like there was no number, right? But I would still crave those sweet things. And so if there were donuts at work, sometimes I would resist the donuts, but sometimes I would go and have a donut. Oh, it's just one donut. Just one, right? Well, then that would set it off. And then it would be 2 donuts. And I would try to eat one donut, maybe when no one was looking, and then take another donut. That's the one people could see me eat, because then they didn't know that I had 2 donuts, right? Just one donut. Hiding food from people, hiding food that I was consuming from people. Yeah, that can't be healthy. That sounds like addiction to me. And so I would go through life. It was miserable because I would constantly be wanting these things that I shouldn't have, but the craving for them was terrible. And it wasn't just sweets. I also really liked chips, things like Doritos, tortilla chips with some kind of flavoring on them, or even potato chips, with ranch kind of flavoring, right? Flavored chips, man, they were delicious to me. Or popcorn with lots of the fake, disgusting butter. That's not even real butter, right? So yeah, I had a craving for salty things. So it got to a point where, after work, a perfect night for me would be, let me make some popcorn and then have some chocolate, right? Popcorn, the salty, with the chocolate, the sweet, because then, oh my gosh, that combination is deadly because you can eat way more. I was going to say twice as much, but probably more than twice as much. Because you'd eat the salty until your body was like, I'm done, and then switch. I'd say this is what I would do, right? And then I would switch to the sweet chocolate, usually milk chocolate or caramel chocolate. And then I'd eat that till my body was like, no more sweet. And then I could switch right back to that popcorn, right? And I could eat a whole big mixing bowl full of popcorn and a good 1/2 to 3/4 of a bag, right, of chocolates. Not to throw any particular name under the name of chocolate under the bus, but Hershey Kisses, Dove chocolates with the caramels in the middle. Yeah, I could eat like a 1/2 to 3/4 of a bag of that and a big bowl of popcorn at a time, doing it that way. That was like a life hack to me. What? So destructive, so self-destructive. And why did I think that it wasn't? Because I was indoctrinated into thinking that a calorie is a calorie. And I mean, I knew that was too many calories, but okay, so tomorrow I just won't eat any calories. I'll punish myself by not eating any calories. And it's totally not a problem, I say facetiously, that what I was eating was completely nutrient void, right? I had no idea really of the concepts of nutrients. Like I knew there was such a thing as nutrients, but I didn't know how important they were to focus on the different nutrients, the macronutrients and micronutrients. No clue. It was just like, well, this is this many calories, and if I eat this many calories, I'm going to gain weight, and if I eat no calories or less calories, I'm going to lose weight. And that was really my main focus. And I could have cared less about what nutrients my body was or was not getting. I just didn't really think that was important. And it sounds like, well, what were you, stupid? Like it sounds stupid to even me to say that. It wasn't like I was thinking, oh, nutrients, schmootrients. It was just, I just didn't think about them. They just weren't on my radar, right? It was just, I was just worried about more calories and less calories, more weight gain and less weight gain. And so I fought with these cravings like my whole life, from teenage years up through my 40s, until I found keto. That was the beginning of my switch, my craving switch, right? Now, when I was keto, I still found that I had cravings. It was better. It was better. But I would crave for things like pecans. Oh my gosh, I could buy a whole thing of pecans and then I could eat. I would try to be good, right? I would try to go and take just a handful or just like pre-portion them out like they tell you to do, right? Just portion control. But they're still in the cupboard, and I knew they were in that cupboard, and oh my goodness, they would call to me from that cupboard, right? I knew they were there, and I rarely, if ever, could stop at just one serving or two servings, right? It was always, well, let's just go back for more, go back for more, go back for more. So yes, pecans were a problem. Cheese was a problem. Sweet dessert-like substances were a problem. I would use cream cheese and do some kind of non-nutritive sweetener and a little vanilla, right? And make this cheesecake-like thing. And I would set myself out a 2 or 4 ounce, let's say 2 to 4 ounce, but it's anywhere between there. Because on the cream cheese, you can measure it. On the package, it's right there. Just cut that amount, right? And then I would inevitably go back for another one and another one. So that was still a problem. I did find it easier though. And when I was keto, I did, my weight did slowly kind of go down. So, but I still had to sort of think about those things, attempt to moderate those things, until I went carnivore. And when I went carnivore, that craving for those things in the cupboard and the freezer and the refrigerator, they just sort of went away. It's weird. I know it sounds weird. I didn't even know that was possible. I thought every human being, this was just wired into all of us, that we would just be craving these things. And then it just kind of went away. So even now, I'm not going to say that I don't eat cheese. I do eat cheese. I don't eat cheese every day. I can't tell you how often I eat cheese. Maybe not even once a month, because I don't care about eating cheese. But if I feel like having some cheese, I do. Or if I go into a situation and all they have is let's say a charcuterie board, right? Like a social situation, and there's meat and cheese. I'll eat some meat and cheese. Does that mean I'm going to try to go back for more cheese once I get home or tomorrow and keep eating all the cheese? Actually, no. And I know for some people that isn't the case. You have to know yourself, right? But for me, totally the case. So I can eat cheese and then go back to not eating cheese. Pretty crazy. And I will tell you this is how my cravings have changed. So now my body tells me it wants things. It still tells me it wants things, right? Before, it wanted ice cream. It wanted pizza. It wanted chips, right? And then it wanted nuts. Then it wanted, faux cheesecake. Now my body tells me, go over to the fridge and grab that butter and take a bite of it. I don't literally bite out of the butter. Some people do, more power to them. I will cut off a slice of butter and eat it, right? Recently, super weird for me, I went and bought some like high quality mayonnaise because I wanted to have some like canned tuna or canned salmon. This week in my lunches, I think 4 days, I ate either canned tuna or salmon with some mayonnaise in it. I don't even like fish, but I actually wanted that fish. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe it means my body needed the omega-3s in that fish or something else that's in there. For the butter, I think it means that my body needs a little more fat today. Because if butter doesn't sound good to me, then I feel almost like my fat is good. Sometimes when I have a steak, sometimes something tells me to put some butter on it. Sometimes I think about putting butter on it and I'm like almost repulsed, like, ew, no, I don't want butter on this. No, I just want the meat. So it's almost like my body, like whatever that thing is where your body tells you stuff, tells you information, tells you to go do something. It went from being this dysfunctional thing that was wrecking me to this thing that's actually helping me improve my health. So have my cravings gone away on carnivore? Yes, but also no. I think now that thing that makes me crave is a healthy thing, right? It's a healthy response. It's a response to something like, I think that my body knows what it needs and it's smart and it kind of tells me that. I don't crave for ice cream. I have no need for ice cream, right? I don't crave for sugar. I have no need for sugar. But I crave fat, butter, usually. Sometimes I'll crave a fattier cut of meat like a ribeye. Sometimes not. Sometimes, apparently, who knew? I'll crave fish. What? I don't even like seafood. If you ask me if I like seafood, the answer would be no, except this week that would not be true. Because I ate some canned fish, you know? So I am just very thankful that instinct, that function of my body has been set to the right setting. It is now being used to help me instead of harm me. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope if you haven't tried carnivore, you will give it a try. And if you have tried it and you know what I'm talking about, leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. And I guess now the only thing is to go and meet some wellness, 1 can of salmon at a time. Who knew I'd say that? Bye, everybody.